Hello, church. Here's our devotional as we continue in Psalm 119. A reminder, this is the longest of the Psalms. James Mays laid out for us yesterday that there are 22 stanzas, if you will, with each one focusing on a different letter in the Hebrew alphabet. I labeled this parts 2 and 3 because this is the second and the third portion that we'll be looking at today for Psalm 119. Um, Let me do a little bit on the importance of literary criticism. We are doing the daily devotional as a source of devotion. And one of Schwenkfeld's big emphases that I think we really need to learn from in our modern society is the importance of not only having an academic understanding, but experiencing something in ourselves, having an experiential knowledge of Christ. And so yesterday, James Mays talked about the importance of listening to this long psalm, so that we can get a feel for its pattern. The big word is meter. Um, I had an experience with my sister when I was at Chapel Hill. I was in my senior year when Charlotte started grad school in their English department, and I wound up having one of my favorite classes. It was the communication of oral literature. To a degree, it was not just a communication class, but a performance class and the way that we are approaching text. For our base, one of the really great pieces we used was a poetic collection called "The Language They Speak Is Things to Eat," and it is all North Carolina poets. One of the pieces that I was doing was by a guy named Michael McPhee called Uncle Homer Meets Carl Sandburg. So Carl Sandburg has his homestead, Connemara, is in eastern North Carolina, a really great place to hike and visit. He had done a poem called Grass, reflecting on the Civil War and ultimately these scenes of horrific battle, being overtaken once again by the grass with the repeated line, "I am the grass, let me work." Michael McPhee had done this wonderful poem telling the story of his uncle going to visit this goat farmer because he was herding goats and had this kind of wild shock of hair. But when I was asking my sister to take a look at the paper I had written on it, she framed for me a sestina. Never heard of a sestina before in the midst of my English classes, but it's these repeated phrases that get used at the end of every line. So recalling these words of grass, of roots. It's been a while since I've looked at it, so I can't give all of them. But Charlotte really gave me the framework for a broader understanding of the poem before going into the specific performance of that thing. So when we're doing a more academic approach to scriptural study, the hope is that it's drawing us deeper into that source of life and drawing us closer to God. I've taught before here about the importance of curiosity in my life and wanting to explore stuff. But that sense of wanting to know, which is a curiosity, but even that academic sense of wanting to explore and of wanting to get deeper is a very good guide for us on how we deepen our faith and deepen our understanding and come to a new place in our relationship. So today, I think I hear a little bit in Peterson, a bit more of a sense of poetic alliteration and reference in his framework. So that was good stuff. But let me give you a little James Mays first to set us up. We had taught yesterday about some of the thematic vocabulary that's being used in the psalm. So these are the words from yesterday that we need to keep our ears tuned to as we're going through these individual sections representing the different letters of the Hebrew alphabet. And there's 8: law, decrees, statutes, commandments, ordinances, word, becomes an important New Testament word, even though it transfers over into Greek. Precepts and promise. And Mays continues. The thematic vocabulary is used in a deliberately abstract manner. We are not told specifically to what the terms refer or what their content involves or requires. The first and most frequent term in the psalm is law, in Hebrew, Torah, better translated instruction or teaching. Torah is used in the Old Testament vocabulary for sayings and literature that give direction from God. It is the comprehensive term. The other terms all name sentences or sayings of various kinds that give instruction. Decrees, statutes, commandments, and ordinances usually refer to the requirements and prohibitions found in Exodus through Deuteronomy as the Lord's instruction to the people of the Lord. Precepts is a specialty of psalmic language with a familiar meaning. Word, as a term for a saying from God, is most frequently associated with prophetic material, the word of the Lord coming in. Got it? Promise is simply a saying. The Hebrew is imra, a synonym of word. The occasional use of ways and paths shows that the list of terms points not to some one genre of material, but to a function. The list covers whatever functions as instruction from the Lord. Torah could replace the other terms in every line. One and all, they refer to the same thing. That connection between promise and word is of significance, so don't lose track of that. And and I did like James May's thing because he talked about it feeling artificial and boring in these lines, and so it's trying to find those nuances to keep us engaged as we're going through it. We'll start with our next two portions from the we'll continue with our next two portions from the NRSV. How can young people keep their way pure? By guarding it according to your word. With my whole heart I seek you. Do not let me stray from your commandments. I treasure your word in my heart so that I may not sin against you. Blessed are you, O Lord. Teach me your statutes. With my lips I declare all the ordinances of your mouth. I delight in the way of your decrees as much as in all riches. I will meditate on your precepts and fix my eyes on your ways. I will delight in your statutes. I will not forget your word. Deal bountifully with your servant so that I may live and observe your word. Open my eyes so that I may behold wondrous things out of your law. I live as an alien in the land. Do not hide your commandments from me. My soul is consumed with longing for your ordinances at all times. You rebuke the insolent, accursed ones who wander from your commandments. Take away from me the scorn and contempt, for I have kept your decrees. Even though princes sit plotting against me, your servant will meditate on your statutes. Your decrees are my delight. They are my counselors. So hopefully you're starting to hear some of those thematic words popping out and can review those as you go along. I mentioned yesterday, Peterson does kind of a neat thing because in this version of the message, which is the New Testament and Psalms, he's doing a little cross mark in between each of the 22 sections just to kind of mark that framework. Listen for the alliteration. This might just be me. I'm not making an argument. I think Peterson was trying to do a lot of alliteration on the letter B. I don't see that continuing like C's and D's and that sort of thing, but I think he altered it enough in this one to try to get some of that poetic feel. How can a young person live a clean life? By carefully reading the map of your word. I'm single-minded in pursuit of you. Don't let me miss the road signs you've posted. I've banked your promises in the vault of my heart so I won't send myself bankrupt. Be blessed, God. Train me in your ways of wise living. I'll transfer to my lips all the counsel that comes from your mouth. I delight far more in what you tell me about living than in gathering a pile of riches. I ponder every morsel of wisdom from you. I attentively watch how you've done it. I relish everything you've told me of life. I won't forget a word of it. Be generous with me, and I'll live a full life. Not for a minute will I take my eyes off your road. Open my eyes so I can see what you show me of your miracle wonders. I'm a stranger in these parts. Give me clear directions. My soul is starved and hungry, ravenous, insatiable for your nourishing commands. And those who think they know so much, ignoring everything you tell them, let them have it. Don't let them mock and humiliate me. I've been careful to do just what you said. While bad neighbors maliciously gossip about me, I'm absorbed in pondering your wise counsel. Yes, your sayings on life are what give me delight. I listen to them as to good neighbors. Really different translation from James May's compared to the NRSV. I should preface that there is, or now postscript. So James May's, when he's using those 8 phrases that we're listening to, he's talking about in the New Revised Standard Version. So we're not going to hear those specific words, but we'll be trying to track what Peterson is doing to draw parallels to that thematic vocabulary that we have. All right, that's it for today. Thanks for lending an ear, and we'll be back with probably 4 and 5, unless we hit a section that Mays is spending a lot of specific time on. Check you later.